When I was a young lad, I remember having a DVD of a movie called Black Beauty. When I watched this film, I didn't know any of the larger context surrounding the story. I had no idea of any of the other existing iterations, so forever when I heard Black Beauty, this is what I thought of. And I had these very specific images from the movie ingrained in my head. These very terrifying images, these oddly disturbing images, and I couldn't remember any of the plot or details of the movie. For the longest time, I didn't know where this was coming from. Just these vague scenes that frightened me as a child. Which is weird because I'm pretty sure this wasn't a scary movie. It's a children's movie about a horse, for Christ's sake. It's fun, right? And it couldn't have been that bad because I'm sure I watched this movie hundreds of times as a kid. I had a Black Beauty toy horse. I don't remember where I got it from, but it was one of those plastic wind-up mechanical things, and I used to gallop and jump around. Good times. Now, this was all triggered because I saw an ad for a Disney Plus remake, and I was like, yeah, I remember Black Beauty. This don't look like Black Beauty, which led me to discovering that Black Beauty is like a really old book and there have been plenty of versions, like a lot. But obviously, the version I enjoyed as a child is the best. That's how it works, right? Right? This is a game Disney has been playing for a while. But why Black Beauty? It's like the Dumbo remake. Everyone remembers Dumbo, but are there really any Dumbo fans who were hyped for this?
Fly, Dumbo. Fly. Baby of...
No. I decided to rediscover the Black Beauty from my childhood, going to the source of my nostalgia to see if it really held up. Now, this animated version of the literary classic was released in 1987 by Burbank Films, who you can thank for all your favorite childhood properties done cheaply and with the bare minimum effort to keep kids engaged. This is the epitome of the "we have blank at home" meme. Peter Pan, Alice in Wonderland, A Christmas Carol, Cinderella. I haven't seen these, so maybe they're perfectly fine, for all I know.
The prince's servant came to the house to deliver invitations to the ball.
I'll have 3.
No. So the movie begins with this sweet little girl getting a horse for her birthday. What horse, you might ask? It's Black Beauty himself.
He's called Blackie.
Oh, he needs a better name than that.
I'm sorry, did H.P. Lovecraft name this horse? There isn't really a lot of story in this movie, especially in the beginning. Things just happen, one after the other. A conflict arises, and then it's quickly solved, usually by Black Beauty. But in essence, it's all about Black Beauty trying to prove he's a good horse. Even though the dad bought him for his daughter's birthday, so I guess he just bought a horse without knowing if it was fit to be around his children, but that's none of my business. One of the employees on the farm called Bilcher? Bilcher?
Belcher! Belcher! I thought I told you to clean out that horse stall.
He is a lazy scumbag thief, and that's pretty much all you need to know. Black Beauty rats him out for trying to steal.
Well, my, Mr. Filcher. Look what Black Beauty has just found.
So, this grown human man suddenly has it out for this horse. Like, he has a personal vendetta out for this animal. Also, if you catch your employees trying to steal from you, maybe fire them. There's no reason presented throughout the movie why they just keep him employed. He's clearly a shitty employee.
Well, now I expect he will make us all suffer for that.
That's Ginger. My name is Merrylegs.
My name, it would seem, is Black Beauty.
The horses can talk, and that's something I had completely forgotten about. But yeah, they can converse with each other, and Black Beauty starts narrating parts of the movie out of nowhere. He meets the other horses in the barn, Merrylegs and Ginger, and Ginger's a bit of a handful.
Don't you worry about her. She believes all humans are cruel.
If you'd had some of the cruel masters I've had, you wouldn't trust humans either. Some have fed me badly, goaded me with spurs, torn my mouth with the bit and beaten me with those dreadful whips.
Whips?
Jesus, that took a quick turn. Ginger has PTSD, and this asshole is like, oh, calm down, you're fine, stop being so dramatic.
No one has taken a whip to you since you've been here.
But they still have them. I've seen them.
Take no notice. I've been very happy here.
Merrylegs says that only because he doesn't know how cruel humans can be.
I don't know. I don't know. I, whose brothers and sisters were taken away to the Black Country to drag heavy carts of coal at the pits, surrounded by blazing furnaces and choking smoke, working long hours in the mines till they drop from exhaustion. If I hadn't been so small, they would have taken me too.
The Black Country sounds like a terrible place. I hope I shall never be sent there.
This is pretty messed up. And this isn't even the scene that traumatized me as a kid. I had completely forgotten about this part. This movie is just casually dark for no reason. Like I said before, Black Beauty starts narrating the story for some reason, but inconsistently. Like, there are some important moments when Black Beauty is doing something and there's no inner dialogue or narration to give his, I don't know, thoughts. Which kind of defeats the purpose of having him narrate at all. He saves this guy's life and they love him now. He's proven himself.
After our adventure at the bridge, the squire accepted me, and I settled in with my new friends, Ginger and Merrylegs. I took the squire on many day trips with Polly and Bertie.
In a weird, out-of-place scene, the kids go hang out at a fair type thing. Or, I think it's a circus. They pay a fortune teller to tell their fortunes, and she just does the worst job.
Ah, yes. Now I see it. A great happiness has come into your lives.
She must mean Black Beauty.
She pretty much just tells them, you got a horse, which they already know, and I see danger.
I see a time of testing. I see danger for someone you love.
Holly! Bertie! Where are you?
They both paid her so she could sell both of their fortune, and this proves to be worthless. It doesn't really come back later to help them in the story. And they each paid her a penny, adjusted for inflation, that's 2 pennies. That's actually not that bad. A fire accidentally starts in the barn because this idiot decides to smoke, and real clever, just slip an anti-smoking PSA in there for the kids. See, it's educational too.
I don't smoke. My wife don't smoke. I have 3 children. They don't smoke. I had a dog. He smoked. He's dead.
And Double B saves the day again like the gangster he is.
It's Black Beauty. Oh, Father, they're safe.
You irresponsible, negligent scoundrel! That fire just cost me my stables, endangered 3 animals, and nearly caused the death of Mr. Manley! Be off my property first thing in the morning! You hear?
What will you learn? What will you learn? That your actions have consequences! Father, come quickly!
Holly! She shouldn't have been out in the night air.
What the fuck is this bitch's problem? The night air? Did people in the 80s think everything could kill you? Why don't they just give her a legitimate ailment? There, she has COVID. That wasn't so hard. Should've worn a mask, bitch. So the evil guy kidnaps Black Beauty for evil reasons, and he's going to take him to the bad place, the Black Country. And the brave children go and try to save him and immediately get captured. Like, they don't even come close.
Something moved over there.
Rats. What are the rats gonna do? Bite them? Eat them? Give them the plague? This is it right here. The scene that changed my childhood. But not really. Filcher sells Black Beauty to the Black Country, and it's just pure hell. Can you see why this made such an impression on me as a kiddo? Like, obviously watching it now, it's not as bad as I interpreted it as a kid, but it's still pretty dark. There's some really vivid imagery going on here. The molten metal and steam, the dark black smoke and soot. And this guy gets just straight up killed. My god, they did not mess around with kids' movies back then, huh? So, is this movie actually any good, or was I just a dumb kid? Well, kind of. It's okay. Also, yeah, I was a dumb kid, but I think that's unrelated. The voice acting is decent. It's not great, but it's not distractingly bad. Like, everyone has super thick British accent and maybe Scottish accents, I can't tell. And with the audio quality, at least the quality of the version I borrowed from YouTube, sometimes it's hard to understand what people are saying. The audio mixing itself overall is pretty bad. Like, sometimes the music and especially the sound effects and Foley are too loud and drown out the dialogue.
I wouldn't trust him with Polly! The horse is a coward! I'm not a coward. If only I could make them understand. Something is wrong. Terribly wrong.
But surprisingly, the soundtrack is actually quite good. It brought back a lot of memories for me. The composer is credited, but the name of the actual music, as far as I could find, is nowhere to be found. I just think it's fascinating that this had original music composed for it. There's not much plot-wise. Stuff just happens and it gets resolved. I mean, the movie's barely over 45 minutes, so I don't know what I expected. Black Beauty, the titular horse, really doesn't have that much character development, which would be fine if he was just a regular horse, but he's personified, he's anthropomorphic. It's his story. He can talk to other horses, and he can talk directly to the audience, but his narration doesn't add anything to the movie. It just starts up and stops with no rhyme or reason. Through some of the most important events he goes through, there's no narration, which would be fine once again if they never introduce narration to begin with. But they do and don't effectively use it. You either have to go all in or not with this sort of thing. All in all, I think it's okay. It's obviously really dated and my nostalgia is factoring in, but I'll give it 3 out of 10. Maybe a 3.5. Now, with all moderately successful things, our media dictatorial overloads at Disney swooped this one up for their own in 2020 and released this live-action movie on Disney Plus, putting their own Disney-esque spin to it. And I watched it out of morbid curiosity, emphasis on the morbid. I knew going into this that it would not be good. Just looking at the ads I saw, this looks so dumb. And the trailer, I already have a headache. I was hoping it would be a so bad it's good situation, but no, it's just bad. Black Beauty 2020 is a boring, bloated, butchered retelling of the Anna Sewell novel. It's narrated by Kate Winslet, and while the narration in the 1987 cartoon is sparse and inconsistent, Kate Winslet won't shut the fuck up. I understand that the entire point of the book is that it's a sort of autobiography of a horse, and Kate Winslet doesn't do a bad job. In fact, I think she's one of the best parts of the movie, second only to the horse, of course. But sometimes the narration is so overbearing and unnecessary. She narrates very obvious things, like not just the horse's inner monologue, but things that are happening right before our very eyes. Narrating the exact events of the plot is fine for a book, but for a movie there needs to be far more restraint. It's show not tell, not show and tell. This isn't first grade. The main actress's performance was very bland and unemotive, and there were points while watching the movie where I thought, wow, she's really giving off Bella Swan and Twilight vibes, only to look her up and realize she was in Twilight, and she played Bella's daughter, so I guess she just doesn't have any range. The story of a sad farm girl who tames a feral horse that no one else can handle is not part of the book. What it is a dumb overused stereotype common in horse girl movies, and I would think Disney is above that, but I guess not. Beauty is not a wild horse in the book. He grows up on a farm. Beauty is a boy in the book, by the way. I don't know why they changed it for this movie. Beauty does not need to be tamed. Even so, he's not fully trusting of humans, because he learns that some treat horses badly, while others don't. Now, I'll be bringing up the book much more in the review of Disney's version because Disney is obviously trying to recreate its source material more and attract people familiar with the source material. It's even in the description. But they also want to attract the young audience, in particular young girls who like horses. So they have to replace a chunk of the story, the first half mainly, with something that's only tangentially related to the original. But they also have to try to stay true to the basic themes of the source material. So they end up doing what seems like so much more work in storytelling. And because the second half of this movie is so different from the first half, they've completely lost the portion of the audience they had halfway through the movie. And they failed to attract the other portion of the audience they were trying to capture because the first half of this movie is so stupid and indifferent to the source material. Why not just completely change the story? Maybe make a completely different horse girl movie and not call it Black Beauty, and or make something more mature and true to the book and call it Black Beauty. Instead, they added this sad story of a girl who loses her parents and has to go live on a farm with her uncle.
How's she doing? She barely speaks to me.
I don't need your sympathy, Uncle John.
And I think the point is to juxtapose with the horse losing her parents, which is something they didn't need to have happen in the first place.
Oh, you're like me because you lost your family and I lost my family.
Get it, kids? Losing your parents is a lot like losing your parents. It's just talking down to the audience. And since the main girl isn't really likable, her addition only hurts the movie. The snobby rich British people was another storyline that was very, very annoying. And I'll admit I ended up skipping some of these parts because it was so unbearable to sit through. All of the writing and scenes involving the rich snobby Brits, particularly their snobby rich British mom, are just the worst. At one point, the stuck-up mom says something like, "OMG, her son's flirting with the help." That's so gross. She literally uses the word "the help" in the year of our Lord 2020. The best part of the movie is the half an hour near the end where Beauty and Joe are separated and Joe isn't in the movie anymore and Beauty goes off on her own journey and I don't have to see that actress and her 3 facial expressions. I think this part of the movie also gets deeper into the themes of the book about respecting animals and treating them with dignity, anthropomorphism, and the various forms of dependency we have with animals. We see Beauty as a search and rescue horse, as a farm horse doing difficult labor, and as a taxi horse in the streets of a big city. And throughout it all, she's treated differently by each person who owns her. We get to see different examples of different people's attitudes towards animals. Kate Winslet's narration is also better in these parts. It's more passionate and better written. Visually, the movie looks fine. I'll admit there are parts where it looks great actually. I mean, it's a Disney movie, they have the budget, but it's not enough to save a cliche story and flat characters. Black Beauty 1987 is too dark and chaotic for children, but too goofy for adults, and Black Beauty 2020 is too boring and formulaic for both children and adults. I give Black Beauty 2020 a 3 out of 10. I would not recommend. There's not much worth it. You'd be much better off reading the book. I read like 1 chapter while making this video and it was better than the entirety of the movie.